You text her too fast. You reply too predictably. You make your feelings obvious too early. You become available every second she reaches out. And then one day, she changes. The replies get colder. The excitement fades. The attraction disappears without warning. You sit there confused because you did everything right. But that's exactly the problem. Most men believe attraction is built through comfort alone. They think if they are understanding, loyal, emotionally available, and endlessly reassuring, a woman will naturally become more attached. But attraction doesn't grow in emotional certainty. It grows in emotional tension. And the moment tension disappears, interest slowly dies with it. Because what keeps emotions alive is not stability alone. It's movement, uncertainty, curiosity, challenge, the feeling that something emotional is still unfolding. And if you don't understand this, you'll keep becoming emotionally safe, but romantically forgettable. So tonight we need to talk about why emotional tension is necessary for attraction, and why the men who create it naturally are usually the ones women never stop thinking about. Picture this. A woman meets two men. The first man is immediately invested. He compliments her constantly. He replies within seconds. He agrees with everything she says. He makes his intentions painfully obvious. At first, she likes the attention, but after a few days, something strange happens. Her emotions flatten. Why? Because there's nothing left to discover. No emotional movement. No unpredictability. No tension between certainty and mystery. She already knows exactly how he feels. Now compare that to the second man. He's warm but controlled, interested but not consumed, present but not emotionally dependent. Sometimes he pulls her in emotionally. Sometimes he focuses on his own world. Sometimes he surprises her. She can feel his attention, but she can't completely predict him, and because of that, her emotions stay activated. She wonders about him, thinks about him, feels drawn toward him emotionally. That's tension, not manipulation, not toxic games, not pretending not to care. Emotional tension is simply the space between attraction and certainty, and that space is where desire grows. Most men destroy attraction because they rush to remove all uncertainty. The second they like a woman, they try to lock everything down emotionally. They over-explain, over-text, over-reassure, over-pursue. But the human mind values what it still feels emotionally engaged with, and engagement requires tension. Think about every movie that keeps your attention. There's uncertainty, conflict, emotional buildup. Imagine watching a film where every problem is solved in the first 10 minutes. You'd stop caring, because tension is what creates emotional investment. Relationships work the same way. Without emotional movement, feelings become flat. That's why some women leave perfect men, not because those men were bad, because emotionally and thus nothing was happening. No polarity, no emotional contrast, no challenge, no depth, just endless predictability. And predictability without emotional energy becomes boredom. Now listen carefully. This does not mean women want chaos. A lot of men misunderstand this completely. They think emotional tension means being toxic, distant, cold, or manipulative. That's not attraction. That's emotional instability. Healthy emotional tension is different. It's when a man has emotional control over himself. He isn't desperate for validation. He isn't emotionally flooding her constantly. He isn't trying to force closeness every second. Instead, he allows emotional space. And space creates anticipation. Anticipation creates emotional energy. That emotional energy becomes attraction. The problem is most men panic in silence. The moment there's emotional space, they rush to fill it, double texting, seeking reassurance, trying harder, talking more. But attraction often grows in the moments where emotions are felt, not explained. A woman wants to feel that there's still more to uncover about you, that your emotional world doesn't revolve entirely around her, that you have depth beyond the relationship. That's what keeps emotional curiosity alive. Have you ever noticed how attraction is strongest in the beginning? Why? Because the beginning is full of tension. You don't fully know each other yet. You wonder how they feel. You anticipate messages. You replay conversations in your head. Your emotions stay activated because uncertainty exists. But once one person becomes completely emotionally available too fast, the tension collapses. This is why many relationships feel exciting early on and emotionally dull later. Not because love disappeared, because emotional polarity disappeared. The relationship became too emotionally predictable. No mystery, no emotional challenge, no individual energy, just routine. And routine without emotional freshness slowly kills attraction. The strongest relationships are not built on constant reassurance. They are built on emotional rhythm, closeness and space, connection and individuality, warmth and unpredictability. That balance keeps emotions alive. Now let's talk about something uncomfortable. Many men secretly try to earn attraction through emotional submission. They believe if they become endlessly accommodating, a woman will appreciate them more. So they stop teasing, stop challenging, stop expressing boundaries, stop having standards. They become emotionally soft in a way that removes all tension from interactions. And slowly the woman stops seeing them romantically, because attraction needs friction, not toxic conflict, but emotional contrast. A woman wants to feel your presence, your opinions, your direction, your emotional independence. She wants to feel like you are choosing her, not clinging to her. That difference changes everything. Because when a man appears emotionally dependent, the relationship stops feeling exciting and starts feeling heavy. Emotional tension disappears when one person becomes too emotionally needy. And once that happens, attraction often fades silently. One of the biggest mistakes men make is trying to become emotionally perfect, perfectly available, perfectly understanding, perfectly agreeable. But perfection is emotionally lifeless. Human beings connect through emotional realism, a little unpredictability, a little mystery, a little challenge. The men women obsess over are rarely the men who give the most reassurance. They're usually the men who make women feel the most emotionally alive. That doesn't mean being cruel. It means having emotional presence. It means your life feels full without needing constant validation from her. It means you can enjoy her deeply without emotionally collapsing into her. That emotional balance creates tension naturally, because now she feels your attention is valuable, not automatic, and people value what feels emotionally earned. Let's go deeper. Why does emotional tension affect attraction so strongly? Because emotions intensify in uncertainty. Psychologically, the brain becomes more focused on things it cannot fully predict. That's why intermittent rewards are addictive. That's why anticipation feels powerful. That's why waiting for one meaningful message can feel more emotional than receiving 50 predictable ones. The unknown activates emotional imagination, and imagination amplifies attraction. When a woman knows exactly what you'll say, exactly how you'll react, and exactly how available you'll always be, her emotions stop stretching toward you. But when your energy feels grounded yet slightly unpredictable, her mind stays engaged. She thinks about you when you're absent. That's emotional tension. And emotional tension creates emotional permanence. Now here's the dangerous part. Most men only become attractive after they stop chasing. Not because women love rejection, but because chasing often destroys tension. When you over-pursue someone, you remove emotional uncertainty completely. You communicate, "You already have all of me." And strangely, that certainty can lower attraction. But when a man has emotional discipline, when he can desire a woman without over-consuming her emotionally, his presence feels stronger, more grounded, more masculine, more emotionally attractive. Because emotional control creates emotional tension. That's why calm men often appear magnetic. Not because they say more, because they don't emotionally leak desperation. Think about the men women describe as unforgettable. Usually they say things like, "He was hard to read. He had his own world. I never fully figured him out. He made me feel something intense." That's emotional tension. Again, not toxicity, depth. There's a difference. A toxic man creates anxiety. A grounded man creates curiosity. One damages emotional safety. The other maintains emotional mystery. And mystery is essential for long-term attraction. Because no one stays emotionally fascinated by something fully predictable forever. So how do you create healthy emotional tension? Not through games, through self-respect, by having your own mission, your own routines, your own emotional stability. by not making a woman the center of your psychological universe 5 days after meeting her, by allowing conversations to breathe, by not over-explaining every emotion, by teasing sometimes, disagreeing sometimes, leading sometimes, by becoming emotionally grounded enough to stop seeking constant reassurance. Because the more emotionally dependent you become, the less emotional tension exists. And the less tension exists, the flatter attraction becomes. There's another truth most people avoid. Women don't just want comfort, they want emotional experience. They want to feel something, not chaos, not pain, not instability, but emotional intensity. The feeling that being around you changes their emotional state. That's why emotional presence matters more than perfect behavior. A man who is deeply grounded, emotionally composed, passionate about life, and slightly unpredictable will often create stronger attraction than a man who is endlessly nice but emotionally flat. Because attraction is emotional before it is logical. People remember feelings more than behavior, and emotional tension creates memorable feelings. The irony is this: the less you try to force attraction, the more naturally it appears, because forced energy feels needy. Relaxed energy feels powerful. When a man enjoys connection without trying to control the outcome, he becomes emotionally magnetic. Why? Because he no longer radiates fear. And fear kills tension. Fear makes you over-text, over-pursue, over-explain, overcompensate. But confidence creates space, and space allows attraction to breathe. At the end of the day, emotional tension is not about manipulating women. It's about understanding human nature. People become emotionally attached to what keeps them emotionally engaged. And engagement requires movement. That's why attraction dies in emotional monotony. That's why mystery matters. That's why emotional independence matters. And that's why the strongest relationships are never built on obsession alone. They're built on balance, connection without suffocation, attention without desperation, love without emotional dependency. Because when a woman feels emotionally safe and emotionally stimulated, that's when attraction lasts. Not for weeks, but for years. So if you want to become unforgettable, stop trying to be emotionally perfect. Stop trying to remove every ounce of uncertainty. Stop trying to secure affection through endless reassurance. Instead, build a life that keeps your energy grounded. Speak with intention. Allow emotional space. Maintain your individuality. And let attraction develop naturally instead of forcing it constantly. Because the truth is, she doesn't stay interested because you gave her nonstop attention. She stays interested because being around you keeps her emotions alive.